Rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turns Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When the cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people, you go meet it up. Pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up. No weapon that form against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. Because I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer. Rise up and conquer them. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You're everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of life. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil tries trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could it be that really nice? No weapon that form against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. Because I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer. Rise up and conquer them. I am a man. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations, 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, and 92.9 Sister Rail Radio Broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you who are joining us on the live video stream, whether it's on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you are joining us. Good morning to you, and good morning to you, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan, and of course, good morning to all our listeners, wherever you are, any part of the world, whatever you're doing, whether you are gainfully employed and engaged in doing your employer's duties that they have assigned you at the moment, but listening to your radio or have your headphones on. If you're at home and just doing the chores around the house, you're traveling on a bus, in your own vehicle, wherever you are, we say good morning to you. We're happy to have you. We're happy to be back with you for another Hard Talk program. We are always very pleased when we can interact with you. And so I believe from what was said last time we were here, which was on Tuesday, yesterday being Wednesday, was post-cab day because Monday was an official holiday. Therefore, the cabinet met on Tuesday and the post-cab was on Wednesday. So we were last year on Tuesday and we were having a discussion as it relates to agriculture, Pridia Lasney and the effects. And so we did decide, providing that my host had changed plans and not yet indicate to me that we were going to continue today, and we'd open up the lines very early so that you can have your say, because I do believe there are a lot of people that has a lot to say as it relates to Pridia Lasney. Some may be repeating things they've said before. There may be new ones that have new ideas, but it is definitely a vexing issue. It's a problem that has existed and plagued the agricultural sector for quite a while. And it is something definitely that we need to put a stronger grip, a stronger hold on. We have to find innovative ways or re-implement some of the old ways that was working. We need to re-implement them and make sure that we can put a dent, because it's definitely, from my knowledge, it is one of the single most or greatest deterrent, not the only, but one of the greatest deterrent for people to continue farming. So we'll get the show on. We'll have your involvement. Thank you for joining, and let's see how we can make the best of the 2 hours that we have, how we can impart knowledge to each other, and how we can at least make a meaningful contribution towards the development of our society and country as a whole.
Absolutely, Mr. Bowler. And of course, before we even begin any conversation, we need to say good luck to the many students that would be sitting the seat. Well, already sitting. They probably halfway through already.
Yeah, they should have started by now. Was it at 8 or 8:30 start? 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock start.
Oh, 9 o'clock.
75 minutes for the first paper, 75 for the second, and a 45-minute break in between.
Okay. Well, I have no details as to how the paper is going, but I know that I've seen on my way down, and which was pretty early because I came into town very early to run some other errands, and I did notice as early as about 7:30 thereabout, there were already some students at the Sacred Heart RC, which is Tivoli. Tivoli RC, that's the primary school in the neck of my woods. I passed in front of that school almost daily. So they was quite smartly dressed. Their uniform is green and white, and with their ribbons, and the male in khaki and white, and they were looking really smart, sharp, and smiling faces. So I believe, from what I've seen, many of them are really excited for today and for what they'll be going and do. I think it is the anticipation of going to a secondary school more than anything else. More than the exam itself, and that's just my view. They may well be properly focused and feel very comfortable and confident about what they're going to do today, and so they were smiling about it. But in my opinion, I think it's the idea, the thought, visualization of myself being in a secondary school uniform. So
good luck to all of you. You have today and of course tomorrow as well to sit those exams, and we anticipate. I think after the exam is over, and the anticipation really begins with parents waiting to hear, well, Lord, what school my child going to next? That is where all the nerves coming in anticipation. But as far as I understand, the Ministry of Education has approved for them to have graduation this year. Last year we had to be very creative as parents and as teachers in how we make the children or send the children off, basically. I know in my daughter's school we did a graduation motorcade. And I do believe some of the other schools did that as well. A graduation motorcade. Who would have ever thought that we would come to a place where that would even be up for consideration, But we had to use creative ways. But I do believe the ministry has approved for them to have graduation this year. So as soon as the exam is over, they will be, prepping and preparing for that, and parents would be excited, to see a child in cap and gown walking down that aisle again. But
you know what's said, necessity is the mother of all invention and innovation. Yes. So out of necessity, you would see the birth of many, many new ideas that probably thoughts of those ideas would have never been
normally
to the forefront if we were going through normal times. And so it is not surprising that when we are hit as humans. Humanity is faced or has to face up to some kind of issue, some kind of problem, some abnormality in the way they know things and are accustomed to doing things. They will devise very innovative ways in which to survive.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Buller, we're going to open the lines very early this morning. The number to call is 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you are in the diaspora and you want to give us a call, the number to call is 347-329-3101. And of course, we are going to continue along the lines of pretty larceny. How do we fight it? Because it really is a massive ill in our society. And I listened to a newscast yesterday, I believe, last night. Anyway, where the farmer was expressing his frustration and had indicated that, it's not the first time, and he's fed up and he's frustrated. And I could understand and relate to him because it not easy, Mr. Buller. It's not easy. It is not easy to toil for days and weeks behind your produce and somebody just comes and takes it away. It is not an easy feat. So I can understand. So we need to start, and we were looking last time at some of the existing measures in place to help deal with pretty larceny, and what do we really need to do to get these measures to work. And we spoke about implementation and enforcement. Those are some of the things that we need to consider in order to really get or start or get the ball rolling.
Maybe before you continue there, Ms. Duncan, maybe we should qualify that by saying more rigorous implementation, because
more rigorous implementation.
It should be. There are some things that have been implemented. There are some new things that have been tried or attempted. There have been some areas where the Pretty Larceny Task Force had, attempted to do things differently. What I think we need, and my opinion is that we need more of it, or we need to do it with greater regularity, greater accountability.
There needs to be consistency.
Consistency, that's another good word that can be used. So thinking about it is not just implementation. There may be new things that can be implemented, but some form of implementation has been taking place, because there are some success stories. I mean, it's not all glory and all good and all the time that you get the perpetrators are being apprehended and the farmers get full satisfaction. But there are cases and in and between where it has happened. So I don't want us to be saying, we need implementation. We probably need it more consistently. We need to always review what level of success we have been having, doing what they commonly refer to as SWOT analysis of what we have done and what we have achieved, and what more can we achieve, how much more can we do, because it's really a vexing, very vexing.
It is a vexing issue. I do want to share, however, with the general public, just to stay off course for a minute. The Ministry of Health had put out a press release yesterday indicating that individuals who would have received their first dose of the vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, at the Guave and Victoria pastoral centers on March 17th. So if you're from Guave and Victoria at those pastoral centers on March and the 17th, you would have received your vaccination. Then you are due for your second shot today. And they will be at those centers again at 9 o'clock at Guave, and then they will be at Victoria at 1 o'clock. So today, yeah. So those of you living in Guave and Victoria who received your first dose of the vaccine on the 17th of March, you're due for the second dose today. And you can do that in Guave at the Guelph Health Center at 9 a.m. this morning, and at the Victoria Medical Station from 1 o'clock. All right. Of course, remember to walk with your vaccination card and your photo ID.
Well, just thinking about the way that notice is penned. Yes, giving notice to the people in those areas who may have used the opportunity. 17th of May. Was it that? March. Sorry.
March.
To get their first shot or get vaccinated for the first time. But what if our birds are passerby and sought the opportunity? What if I was visiting the area, or what if I had lived in the area then, but not living there now? So you see, it sort of addresses, and if one doesn't think quickly, believes that it is only those who are living in the area.
So I guess in general,
once you have had it around that date, even if it was at that same center, and you're in another area in Grenada at the moment, you can go into any facility where they are administering the vaccination.
Well, I wouldn't say any facility, because if it's a health center, then you must make an appointment to go to the health center to get vaccinated. And I don't think that they're at the National Stadium today. So I think the only other option for a walk-in currently would be St. Augustine.
Well, wherever I thought.
But even if you don't have it today, it doesn't mean that your time has passed.
No.
You could go tomorrow, you could go on Monday.
To bring greater clarity.
Yeah.
Because the way in which the notice is spent, it seemed as though it's saying, well, if you live in Guelph or in Victoria and you had it on that day in that place.
Yeah.
But what if you had it on that day in another place?
In another place.
Aren't you not supposed to start your second dose as of today? So anywhere you are and any place in which you took it, once the date was on our
and it's good timing as well, because you would want to give enough time, which means that you have, when you take it, I'm pulling up my calendar, today being the 27th. Oh, we may still be the 27th, and it'd give you 2 weeks after that is when you're going to be fully vaccinated, which would mean that you would be fully vaccinated on the 10th of June, if I have it correct, the 10th of June. And then cricket started on the 24th. I mean, for those cricket lovers who are in that, in that circle, it's good news. It's good news, Mr. Bola. It means that we go in places, because yesterday in our post-cabinet briefing, they would have mentioned that fully consideration is being given to house, and if I maybe use a better word, but house fully vaccinated persons to watch the game or the games, because we're getting 5 days. 5 days? 5 days. The 26th to the 2nd, I believe, of July, somewhere around those days. We're getting 5 days of cricket.
2020 games?
T20 games, yes.
Yeah, T20.
I'm very excited about that. I'm not a huge fan of cricket, Mr. Bola, but, there are some games that are just so interesting, so vibrant, that, sometimes you have to be right there in the arena looking at it.
Well, you're either a fan or you could be air conditioned. So I don't understand why you're not a great fan.
I'm not a great fan of cricket.
So you're air conditioned?
Air conditioner cricket.
Well, I don't understand you. I don't understand you, man.
Yeah, but it means that we're going places. It means now that greater consideration can be given for persons who are vaccinated to gather in numbers more than what is already allowed, because I think persons would say, well, if that is the case, then I might as well not get vaccinated, because I could already gather in groups of 20 or so on, and people may say, well, what's the point? The point is, at the end of the day, the people who are vaccinated are protected. Can gather in larger places, in larger numbers, and then very soon you may hear that we need to wear masks too when we gather. You never know. The CDC has already declared in the U.S. that persons who are fully vaccinated don't.
Well,
have
let's
to,
wait until we have a declaration from our Ministry of Health.
but I'm a little excited.
I don't want us to go that way. I don't want us to preempt anything. I don't want anyone to be saying that on Hard Talk they hold that you're not supposed to wear a mask.
But I made it
Because
very
you
clear.
did
the
not
CDC
say
said-
that, but we understand fully
Yes.
how sometimes people misconstrued what you're saying.
Yes. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning, caller. Nope. Seems like we lost that call, so we'll wait again. We'll wait again and see what happens. Yeah, but it's some light at the end of the tunnel, Mr. Bula. You know, it's a sigh of relief after you've been, confined to so much restriction. And recently, yesterday, when I looked at the numbers, I think we are about 8,000 persons fully vaccinated. Both doses have been administered. So we had 8,000 people being fully vaccinated today, to date. And I looked at that, and then I saw someone comment, so then why not open up now?
Well, of course, again, a total misunderstanding of how many people need to be vaccinated in order for us.
But also a total misunderstanding of really how the herd immunity works.
It works, yeah.
And it's basically saying and showing that there are some people out there who are hoping that others would get vaccinated so they don't need to. And while that is while that is a personal choice, I mean, it's a very unfair thing to do, because there are people who cannot. And we have to make the distinction between the people who don't want to and the people who cannot. There are people who would, if the opportunity would allow them get vaccinated, they would do it in a heartbeat. But they can't, because of whatever underlying condition that may restrict them from doing it. And when I say cannot, sometimes they may not be able to do it right now. They have to wait a while. They have to come off whatever medication they're on to help the immune system to recover whatever immunosuppressants they may be taking and so on before they can be vaccinated. Those are people who are considered to be in the bracket of cannot be vaccinated at this time. It's very similar to some people saying, okay, and this is hypothetical. Some people may say, well, you know what? 8,000 people already wearing condoms, so I don't need to wear condom. I ain't gonna get AIDS. You understand? It's very similar, you know?
You like that
to
analogy?
Something like that.
You always mix the comparison. I wonder why.
Because that's one of the only other ways that you could really get, and I'm speaking about in Grenada, where a disease or a virus or something like that can be transmitted easily, with human contact. So it's one of the better examples to give, But it's very similar to that. You do it simply because there are people who cannot do it. Not because you are hoping that those who want to do it would do it and it would protect you, but you have to do it so that people who are unable to get vaccinated, that we are able to protect them as well.
Well, the encouragement is always there, and while we continue to encourage and to give rational, very credible ones why it is necessary, the skeptics, they are not stopping, the people are not stopping, put out all sort of frivolous issues, and you hear all sorts of things. So I just want to say to people, be careful, consider all of the factors before you do the verification and make a decision, which is better, to have a fighting chance than to have no chance at all.
I like that.
And at least vaccination gives us a fighting chance against COVID.
It does.
So, please do. The ministry and the government has just received 20 plus doses.
Yeah, 21,000, I believe.
21,000. So it means that we have now, again, that is available. So there's no need to worry about the expiry date of those that we had long before.
We have a call on the line.
All right.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan and Brother Bowler.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, Yes, I have a statement and I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. What I've heard here in the diaspora, I'm close to the cruise ship area. The cruise ships are saying that every worker in the ship must be vaccinated to get back on the ship. And all of us who want to come on the cruise, we must be vaccinated. Okay, that's a statement. Now, don't we have young people in Grenada who work on cruise ships?
We do.
Yes.
Okay, so if they have to go back on the cruise ship, don't they have to be vaccinated because that's a requirement?
Certainly, yes.
Yeah.
So those in Grenada who want their work back on the ships, they will have to be vaccinated, fully vaccinated before they fly out to get on the ships.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, so I hope they get the message and they're being vaccinated.
Well, I can't tell you if they are being vaccinated, but that message has been out quite a while now. In fact, many of the cruise lines, they have had and started having meetings with the Board of Tourism or the Tourism Authority, the Ministry of Tourism, and that was the very first thing they said. Look, we are preparing, we are ready to start sales again, but there are three conditions. One, all our sailors, every single worker on our boats, our ship, would have to be vaccinated. Two, all passengers coming on board must be vaccinated. But thirdly, they are saying they will first pull into ports where the majority of that population is being vaccinated, especially those who would have to interact with the passengers. So you're talking taxi drivers, you're talking spice and other vendors, restaurant workers, hotel workers, these kind of people, immigration officers, the people that would have first interaction, tour guides and these kind of people. So that information is out and people know, but of course it is one's choice. The debacle continues, the argument about what is constitutional and what is not. But of course, we have no control over the cruise ships. We don't own a cruise ship. We cannot demand that they come to Grenada. They have set the conditions and we either adhere to it or not. So with adherence, more of our people that work and new ones, because there have been some adverts out in the last couple of weeks of some cruise ships that are recruiting, but that is also one of the conditions. You can be recruited, so even if you were not working on a cruise ship before, there's an opportunity now for you to get a work as a young person or for youthful people, but you must get vaccinated. That's one of the conditionalities.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I hope our young people who want to go back on the ship forget the negative anti-vaccination thing going on in Grenada from some of those people who have their agendas. Have a blessed day, Ms. Duncan and Brother Paul.
Thank you, and thank you for that. Great. Yes, so it's about the vaccination, and of course, as he raised it, we can just reiterate it. It is one of the conditionalities. So the whole tourist sector is highly dependent on the level of vaccination that happens in terms of the vendors, the tourist vendors, or the people who vend to the tourists, in terms of the hotel and restaurant workers, the taxi drivers, the what you call them, the tour guides and what have you, you know, the sites where the tourists visit, the people who work on those sites, they would love to know that they are vaccinated before they will pull into our ports.
Yeah, we have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Miss Duncan, Mr. Bulla.
Morning to you, sir.
How are everything?
Very well, thanks.
I sat down there and I just listening, right? And I tried to analyze the reasoning of people who refuse to take the vaccine, right? They say that they're waiting for a certain amount of people to get vaccinated so that they will be safe. Well, I want to ask a question. Are the virus waiting on the among the people to get vaccinated before you take it?
No.
Listen, when you listen to the reason of these people, I just try to understand. I let people really sit down and analyze positive, analyze the way they should be analyzing to protect themselves. But you're waiting on among the people. But the sickness is waiting on them people. The sickness will take it any time. You could take it tomorrow, please, God. So then why should you wait for something to take you? Why there is something there that could protect you from the no, you will protect you, but if you get it, if you get the virus, the vaccine you take will not able to make that virus do more damage to you, because you already took the vaccine. But then when you sit on the waiting, you expose yourself to great danger. And when you wait on somebody, so you wait on somebody to protect you, while it is free for you to protect yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I just cannot. No, so that it is very difficult when you have people with education, people that know better, people that should be role model to others, saying this thing and then. You cannot be waiting on a man to tell you, don't go across the road. No, definitely, if a vehicle come in, right, you have to stay a vehicle pass. So what if a man to tell you, don't go across the road, you know the person? As me don't can say like something with the condom. Like if 50 person take it, right, and 50,000 people take it, and next 50,000 people take it, like if 50,000 people take it, we protect them, they won't take it. I just cannot understand. No, we don't really understand, and how we black people, also people in general reason. But you cannot depend on man to protect. You have to protect yourself.
Certainly,
right?
certainly.
You have to protect yourself. And one of the things again, I want to see the medical doctors, leaders take some of their things to quiet. Right? I think they need to be more open out. Speak to the people, because sometimes people might hear me talking on the vaccine. They might do. They say, "Who is he? You already know." What when the doctors come and speak, right? I think they could be more influential than we. Right? We do what we have to do. So call upon the doctors, the people who they're not people who have no knowledge of no medication. They know what's going on. They hear something and they just speaking it because they hear something, because the anti-vaccine. And what I reckon is, anytime somebody anti-vaccine and they see somebody say something on television, what this person did, they send on WhatsApp for other people. Right? But when they anti-vaccine and see something for a person they know they're not a medical doctor, they don't say nothing, they keep quiet. Yeah, they don't want to hear a message. So, Mr. Duncan, this evening at 6 o'clock at the Happy Second School, there will be a town hall meeting with the parliamentary rep, Honorable Peter David, and Mr. Cox, right, at the Happy Second School for 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
And the breakfast comes down close by. So, Mr. Bola.
Saturday morning?
Friday morning. Friday morning food. We give an extension for people to have more money. So for you to have more money to come buy more breakfast.
Me.
Alright.
If nobody never tell you, let me tell you now, I never have money, miss.
Well, I always say, Miss Uncle, your co-associate.
Yeah?
So that once you co, she cannot be co-in word and not co-indeed.
Okay, I love that boy. I thought you was only following her up with your thing about condom, but I realized you had listened a lot of other things. Thank you very much for that. Have yourself a pleasant day.
You're terrible, Mr. Bora.
Yeah, co-indeeds as well, not just co-indeeds. Come on, put your deeds together and buy me breakfast.
I'll think about it. I will consider it. You know, something very interesting came up yesterday from the post-cabinet briefing. The Minister for Health, in answering a question that was posed by a media personnel in regards to the children vaccine, and most people may ask, well, what are the children? It's the vaccines that you go to the health centers to give your child when they're, I don't even remember, it's 3 months, and my children's so old, it's not even funny. Like, I don't even remember when they get vaccinated, at what age. But it's the vaccines that you take your children to get at a very young age. That is also produced in India by the Serum Institute of India. That's what it's called. And they're seeing that there are shortages, which is something that was anticipated. We spoke about this here before, that we have to look forward to some of these things happening, because not only did this Serum Institute come alive to create vaccines for COVID-19, but it's been in operation since 1966. making vaccines for things like rubella and rabies and tetanus, and a lot of the vaccines that we take without question, Mr. Bola. And I want to make that clear. Sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, I believe that all of us have had, most of us, because there are still some anti-vaxxers that live in Grenada that haven't taken some of these things. But most of us, when time comes to bring our children to get vaccinated, we do it. We don't ask a question. We didn't ask how long it took for the vaccine to be manufactured. We do not even ask what vaccine it is the child gets in. We just know that it is routine and it is what protects them from things like measles outbreak and chicken pox outbreak and mumps and yellow fever, and we do it because we don't want to have to deal with these kind of things. From the time your child gets a nail juki, the first question they asking is, have they had their tetanus shot, their tetanus vaccine?
And that is why the schools will not take them in if they don't have the vaccination card.
Their vaccination card. And schools have been actively vaccinating children. When you go into, because I remember when my daughter was going into kindergarten, that the school, when they were doing the registration of the children, for children who had not yet received their vaccination, they called in the nurse and they did it at the school.
Well, a type of, because there are several vaccines that children will get, several inoculations that they will get during their lifetime. But, having brought that up, which was not a subject matter that we had planned to discuss today, but what you've just brought up, there was a discussion some time ago on TV, and one of the panelists quite ably put across painted a picture of the hesitancy, or part of the reason. It was not the only reason, but part of the reason. And what that panelist said is, yes, we make those comparisons that we have taken, and that is quite true. It's not a fake, it's factual, that all of us, or most of us, 90% I think of the world's population has taken several vaccines before, without any question. No one wanted to know, well, who make it, what's in it, how long it took to develop, what have you. But in trying to unfold and put into perspective the whole issue of that anti-vaccination trend that is taking place, and the hesitancy that we are encountering with so much more people being on the side of hesitancy than willingness to take the vaccine, did mention the fact that, one, many of those vaccines that still exist, and people still take them, and children still take them for all of the things, the rubella and the tetanus and what have you, they were developed in an era when information technology was not as open and available as it is now. Two.
And advanced as well.
And advanced. Two. The last time we had a pandemic was 100 was it 100 or 200 years ago?
About 100 years.
100 years ago, but 100 years ago. Hardly anyone is alive today that would have experienced the Spanish flu. I think that was the last one prior to COVID. Yes? It was the Spanish flu. Right? So there had never been an experience by this generation, or the vast majority of this present generation, that is experiencing the COVID-19. And so seeing and hearing about a vaccine being developed during the process of that is something that a lot of us put a question mark over. Right? Because we have never been used to that. We don't understand. Not even taking into consideration that times have changed, things are different. The advancement in medicine and so has grown leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And one of the other things about this vaccine is that there had been a lot of shared information, as far as I understand. So while you had various scientists in different parts of the world working, whatever it is they discovered, they were sharing with each other. So that made it a lot easier.
And that's why a lot of the vaccines all came out at the same time.
Just about the same time, because there was a lot of sharing, a lot of collaboration, so to speak. The world took, and there was a lot of money pumped in by the corporate citizens, because they felt it was necessary to do. But thirdly, you are giving out information to the public as fast as you're discovering things.
Yes.
So during the process of making and discovering and trials and failures and testing and so, the public is being kept informed. So you are at a much more advanced stage as an individual in terms of your knowledge.
But also, there are a lot more mediums and modes for people to get that information, because before, back in the day, before even COVID, these trials, studies, and all of these things, it's not that the information wasn't there for persons to read, but one, there wasn't that large interest in finding out how this is made and what trial stage it has to go through and what has to happen before that vaccine can get to me. There wasn't that great need for that information among the populace. But in addition to that, not much of the populace had the means to access that information. So technology has allowed us to be able to access the information. The same technology that has allowed the scientists to be able to create this vaccine in such a short period as we may think it is. We think it's a short period, but for them, they have been studying this COVID-19, this COVID virus. It's not COVID-19, but COVID for quite some time, you know. They have started doing the groundwork from since there were things like SARS and MERS, which are very similar, you know. So the groundwork, the foundation was already built. All they needed now was to go up with the walls, you know, to get to where we are today. So the problem is, and that's why they say sometimes an overload of information is not good for people. Because they don't know what to do with all of the information that they are getting. They don't know how to interpret it. They don't know how to decipher it. They don't sit and take time to understand it either. So it's sometimes technology is great because it helps us to get to,
but it has
its ills, and these are one of the things that this is one of the things that we consider an ill, where people now have access to so much information that they do not understand, that they don't take time to reason and rationale with, and so we have a lot of propaganda and we have a lot of misinformation.
And people misquoting and misunderstanding, and you're so correct. They said too much information in the wrong hands is bad, while a little or no information is also bad. But if someone who doesn't understand what to do with the data and how to unfold it and how to get a better understanding of it, having it could be a very dangerous thing. And these were some of the things that the panelist was explaining. So in other words, what was being said is that you have this sort of anti-vaccine and hesitancy because some people genuinely don't understand and don't know and are being easily influenced by others. You have that. But you also have some people who, with the information that they have and the misunderstanding or misuse of that information, is seeking to know more before they go forward. So there is, in some ways, a very genuine, in some instances, a very genuine concern on the part of some individuals, yes, who are seeking to know more. We want to know more. And every time that they get some information and then they want to ask another question, and so it's never ending. So that's part of the problem.
Right.
But we also have some people who purposefully are out there putting out falsified information.
Yeah.
They are using it to benefit and to achieve their own goals.
Yeah.
And that is not a fair and reasonable thing for them to be doing.
Absolutely.
You know, an issue as COVID-19 is too serious for us to use it to play any kind of football, whether it's political, religious, or social football. It doesn't matter. We just need to be truthful. We just need to be reasonable. And when we don't know, we don't know. But if we know and we are misusing or using for the wrong purposes what we know and what we understand, it is not a good thing. You are really and truly playing with the lives of people. These are human lives we're talking about here.
Yeah. You know, I want to give people a little bit of history because we You know, we like to give a little education in between. And, you know, when we speak about the Serum Institute of India, which is the largest production or producer
producing plant,
of vaccines worldwide, we're speaking about worldwide, and this is where our vaccines are coming from. So we trust them with all of our other medication and other vaccines, but we don't trust them with our COVID vaccine. But I want to give people a little history that'll make them think. So in 1966, or just a little before 1966, the Serum Institute was a horse racing farm, a horse farm. And the owner, he would donate his retired or unfit race horses to a public lab. I'm not sure if people are familiar with what they call horse serum. Horse serum. Have you ever heard that?
No.
I've heard it before though. Horse serum. And that is a liquid, right? That is found in the blood of retired horses. So they would take that blood to make things.
The blood or the liquid?
The blood, no, the liquid from the blood. Okay. Right? They would use that blood to make, or the liquid from the blood to make the vaccine for tetanus shots and insect bites.
Okay.
Or snake bites, right? Anti-venom vaccines. So anti-venom vaccines and tetanus vaccines. So that is before it became this big lab. So that is what happened there. And then, of course, so at that time, India was experiencing a lot of shortages in vaccines because of the cost, the exuberant cost of vaccines coming from Europe. So he decided to start his own lab on the farm. Right? And therefore he launched the Serum Institute in 1966, right? And the first vaccine came out 2 years later, right? And went global by 1990. So, but I mean, the horse serum or what we call the serum that they use from horses for tetanus shots, they don't use that anymore. Because, of course, as we know, as time goes by and more research is done and resources are found, then you find out that there are different things that can be used to achieve the same purpose. But I want people to understand that sometimes we just don't know what we're talking about. We just don't know. Mr. Bola, we just don't know. We don't know the history of what we're speaking about. We don't know what people have gone through to get from where they are to where they need to be. So I'm sure that there are so many people in our society who have used, who have gotten tetanus shots that came from horse's blood, that don't even know it. Because at the time, that information probably was not available for them. But they taking a tetanus shot anyway because they know they want to get tetanus. They would take the anti-venom shot anyway because a snake bite you don't want to dead. So it's very unfortunate that information has allowed us to become, and I don't even want to say sensitive. It's not sensitive. I don't know. We're ridiculous. In some of us, not all of us, because definitely not.
I agree with you totally, though.
Tell me why.
About we become ridiculous. I tend to oftentimes want to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
And so I honestly believe that there are some people who have genuine concerns in all of this vaccine hesitancy and, you know. I do believe that there are some people that are asking some relevant questions.
Right.
They really want to know more. They want further explanation for certain things. Because remember, this is one life we have to live. You know?
Absolutely.
It's one body. I took the decision and took my shots, both already, because I felt sufficiently comfortable with the information that I had that it is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
There are some others who may have some other concerns, who may have some unanswered questions, and it is natural and it is okay for them to question.
Yeah.
The trouble I'm having is with the people who have nothing to ask, who have no question about production, possible side effects, nothing. They come with some kind of frivolous sort of reason. Yeah. Why they're not taking, there's a magnet in it, or somebody says a chip
track us.
To track where you're going. I mean, come on.
But it's funny. It's funny, Mr. Bola, that the same cell phone that they're using to call the radio station to say that there is a chip that is tracking them has a locator device in it.
But you said, and I've said so to so many people, I said, listen, the fact that you're using a cell phone, you're on your cell phone, you're talking, you're texting, that alone is enough. If anybody of interest wants to track you, they can.
I want to give you an example, Mr. Bola. When my daughter and I were in Barbados, my son was here, and on my computer, my laptop, there is a program called Find My Phone, which is connected to my cell phone. So in the event that I misplace my cell phone anywhere, I can go on my computer and find it. So there were days when my son would call and he was like, Mommy, where is... And he would call out the name of the place that we are. And I said, Xavier, how you know? He said, Mommy, well, I just go on your computer and find my phone. So he could locate where I don't like him doing it because I don't want him to be tracking me all the time like that. But it just goes to show that it is as simple as that for somebody to know your location. It is as simple as you going on Facebook and turning on your location and Facebook tracking your location, or WhatsApp tracking your location, or Google tracking your location. It's as simple as that. Why would somebody produce a chip to put inside of a vaccine? First of all, why would they create a whole worldwide pandemic? This is how ridiculous it is, eh? They're going to create an entire worldwide pandemic, which will first cause them to lose billions of dollars in assets and resources and all of that. Billions of dollars. It would put people out of jobs, and it would kill others, and it would put burden on the healthcare systems all around the world just so they could track me. Well, what important about me, so?
I don't know, but I'm glad your son can. He has to use that all the time, especially at night, to make sure that his mother is safe and she's in a safe place.
Well, he always knows I'm safe because I'm always home. But that's how ridiculous, Mr. Bola, this thing is. That somebody would create an entire pandemic just so they could then spend billions of dollars that they have already lost to create a vaccine so they could put a chip in it
with a magnet
to track you. I don't understand how, and I'm laughing because that is how.
But there are some quote unquote seemingly educated individuals who actually believes those things and help spread it, and that is what is most ridiculous.
I can't laugh at this hard enough. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, morning.
I'm just calling to find out if they will be in the stadium doing the vaccination on the 2nd of June.
On the 2nd of June?
Yeah, because my mom have to go back to get her second dose because she got the second dose in the first dose in Radisson. Right. But there is not in Radisson again, so I just want to know if they will be there on the 2nd of June.
I don't have because they put out the schedules weekly.
Every week, yeah.
I only have the schedule for this week, so I'm not sure what the next 2 weeks will hold. But what you can do is you can go to the Ministry of Health's Facebook page, Ministry of Health Grenada, and closer to the time, and they will post it. Most likely, they will be there, or they may find another location, or you can contact your nearest health center and make an appointment.
That, and the people told me that they will call me back.
Right.
Because I called them to make an appointment.
Right.
And I called them, and they told me that they will call me back, and up to now they didn't call me back yet.
Right. Well, that's wow. That's rather unfortunate. You know who also does it?
So they call in. You know what I can understand? They call in and they say, "Come to take the vaccine." And then it's trouble to get a vaccine when somebody has to go and get it because they be moving all about. And when the location where we have to go, they call in them, and sometimes they're not answering. So if you see, when they was in Radisson, it was a good. You know, you go into the Lubina Stadium. Now they're moving all about.
No, well, if they're not in the stadium, then they would be in Radisson.
No, but you're not sure about that. I think the safest thing to do with this caller is if we can take her number and probably a name.
Yeah.
We will take the responsibility.
I had experience with all you taking my number and calling me back already. I won't go through that. But this taking number and call
us
back,
here at the program?
I had experience with all you with that already.
On this program?
On this program? On this program?
Yes, on this program.
Yeah.
Really?
And it was a very important thing. You know.
Well, we are sorry for that, but we oftentimes will follow up and call people and give them what information we get.
Yeah. And not only here, but people in the diaspora as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, if that has happened, of course, we apologize.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but we will try our best. The only thing I can say to you is I really don't have the list. And I would hope that they would be in the stadium on the 2nd or at Radisson. But the most I can tell you is to follow their Facebook page. They usually put out a schedule at the beginning of the week to say where they're going to be.
So, Miss, happen that somebody don't have a Facebook page and they just depend on the TV, on the radio to hear where they will be.
Well, I know most of the announcers take the time to call it out because I've heard it several times.
At the beginning of the week, so it's still too early. We can't say what would happen by June 2nd.
Yeah, even if we just don't have the information right now. So that's why I'm saying we can take your number and we can call you once we have a schedule.
Okay.
Right. So if you don't want to give your number off on the air, you can always call back once the program is over, anytime after at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. You can call back at 12.
Okay, miss.
All right, and we'll give you the information. You too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The schedule comes out weekly, so honestly we just don't have the information. It's too early to tell. That would be next week, Wednesday, the 2nd of June. Next Wednesday. So the next schedule should come up by Saturday. They usually put it out on a Saturday. So once the program is over, she can call and we can give out the information to her. But Mr. Bola, as we were saying, some of those theories are just too far-fetched. They're just... I mean, if you really sit down, and it just goes to show how people really don't sit down and analyze the things that they are being told. Because if you really sit down and think about these things, it just wouldn't make any sense. Because I cannot see one person wanting so bad to track your location that they would create an entire pandemic. I don't see it.
When there are so many other simplified ways.
But when you are already being tracked, Mr. Bola.
Yeah, to know where you are.
Yes, when you're already being tracked. This is not something that is going to be new to society. You're already being tracked. Once you have a cell phone, you're being tracked. Once you put a SIM card inside of your cell phone, you're tracked. So I can't, to me, it just makes absolutely no sense.
Well, to you, because you understand how this thing works. But to the person who doesn't understand that, it makes a lot of sense to them. But I hope they will understand and have their minds unconfuffled from what you have explained here today.
And what is unfortunate is that you hear children saying these things, repeating these
Well, of
things.
course, children leave what they learn, what they hear the parents say, what they hear the adults say, what the uncle or elder brother or sister says. They repeat it because that's where they get it from. They even some of them get it from their teachers, because we do have people within the profession that believes or utter or make utterances of that sort. So it's not far-fetched to hear the children repeating it. What is dangerous about it is that we are developing a society of fearful people for things that they should not be fearful about. Yeah. Of course, concerned, ask questions, and it is everyone's. I think it is your duty so to do. If you are not so comfortable with something that you have heard or you have seen, you can ask more questions about it. You can speak to the people in authority or the people you believe that should be knowledgeable about it, and try to find out why this is that way or why that is that way, or get more information and get in depth into the issue, so that when you make a decision, it would be an informed decision.
Yes.
But when you spread, things that are not factual, when you are fictitious with some of the things that you're spreading, and it gets to the children and to others, I mean, come on, it's just not fair to them, eh?
It's not fair to them.
It's really not fair to them, because they are growing up with a feel and an understanding of something that is not factual.
That is not factual. And then when the time comes for them to have to take the vaccine at an adult stage, it becomes difficult. We've bred a problem where our children are now adults, and they are now afraid because of things that they have heard as children. So we are breeding a bigger problem, and it's quite it's quite unfortunate. Some of the things are very funny, downright ridiculous, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is, Mr. Bola. It is what it is. So, guys, you can call and contribute to the conversation. I'm still laughing on the inside because I'm thinking about this thing, and to me, it's just so funny. It's just so funny. The number to call is 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you are in the diaspora and you want to give us a call, it's 347-329-3101. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp, or you can also give us a call on WhatsApp as well. And you can continue sending your messages on the live video. We're trying hard, Mr. Bola, to get to where we need to be as it relates to vaccination, the numbers that we should be at, and yesterday the minister did make clear mention. They received 21,000 doses of the vaccine. An
additional
21,000. But then he also made mention that I think we have 52 or 50. We received in total from the first 2 or 3 sets. We received about 50 something thousand doses. We have thus far used about 20,000 of that. So we're like halfway through. But he did make note that there have been countries that have approached them to send them the vaccines that we have not used. He said they're not going to wait for it to expire, but they're going to send it in a time frame that is sufficient enough for them to use it in the event that our people do not utilize it. We have a call on the line. Hi, good morning.
I want to know about the health center in Guelph. I heard a guy said something yesterday. I want to know if it is up and functioning, please.
Oh, okay, you're going to stay on the line for the answer, or you're going to listen on the radio? Oh, he's going to listen on the radio. I know that the work has been completed. I'm not sure at what level it's operational. Mr. Bola, do you know at what level?
No, I don't. In terms of construction, because when you say the work is completed, it could be the construction phase is complete. In terms of the installing of whatever they have to do on the inside, because it's more like a polyclinic, eh?
Polyclinic, yeah.
And so there'd be rooms and there'd be beds and there'd be certain basic equipments that can do certain tests, things like blood tests and what have you. Where they are with those, I am not sure. I am not even sure whether or not, because I did hear very early there was some conversation about starting up in a phase basis. Doing the basic things that you can, or offer the basic services rather that you can, until you get all of the other, or you're phased in the other equipments and implements. So over time it becomes fully functional. Not being a member of government or working in government, we're not sure.
Okay, I just got a message from
from
someone in Ministry of Health. They said the facility is not.
It's not operational.
No.
Okay.
We have a caller on the line. We have 2 calls coming in. Let's try to get both of them. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Duncan, how are you?
I am good, and how are you?
Dave, you know. You and Mr. Bola.
Morning. Very good morning, yes.
Yes, I just called to tell you I went by 3 doctors, my doctors, and I asked them if I could take the injection. They say, well, Ms. Gilbert, you won't able to take it, you know, when they test what I have. They tell because the kidney is not working so good. The heart, the swelling of the foot.
Okay.
And things like that. And the pressure. They tell me everything has to be functioning in the right way first.
Right.
Before I could take it. So they give me 2 papers. All of them give me papers to go and test myself.
Right.
And I went yesterday. So when I get the result now, I have to bring it for them.
Yes.
And then they will tell me what really going on. And then if everything is good, then I could take it. But Alpha now,
you can't.
I can't put myself there at all. I have to wait until they tell me, well, yes, go ahead.
Right.
And that is the best advice you can get. It is from your medical and health professionals.
Right.
They understand this thing better than any one of us because they are in the health field. And if they say to you, not now, do X, do Y, do Z, you follow the others, my dear.
Yes.
The only other thing I will advise you to do is to be extremely careful.
Right.
Once you're going out into the public, make sure you wear a mask.
Yes.
You know, try as much as you can to stay away from large crowds.
Right.
People that have colds and thing and coughing, you know, you keep your distance. Wash your hands regularly. So use the protocols until your doctors give you the okay.
Right.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much, and both of you have a nice day.
You as well. We wish you good luck. We hope that soon your results will tell you what you can do.
All right. Then.
All right. Wonderful.
Okay. Bye-bye.
God bless you.
All right. Thank you.
And this is the way to go. If you feel that there may be an issue with your system, with your body, if you know or you feel so, then you check with your medical professional, you check with your family doctor, you check with a physician that can carry out some simple tests, or someone who is acquainted with your health situation, and they will then advise you as to what best to do.
But this also reinforces what we were saying earlier, Mr. Bola, that it's these kind of people that we get vaccinated to protect.
Yes.
The people who cannot, you know,
Not
the people who don't want to because they believe it's my right and nobody enforcing me, or the people who don't want to because I never take a vaccine in my life, I ain't taking no vaccine, I ain't bothering with them, or the people who don't want to because they believe that they want to chip them to track them, or the people who don't want to because they believe 4 years down the road they're going to turn into something.
They're going to die.
Or they're going to die. Not these people. It's the people who want to but cannot. Or the people, not even if they don't want to, but they cannot. They just can't do it. For whatever medical reason, they just cannot. And these are the reasons why we do what we do, you know? And I want to continue to reiterate to the people out there, as this lady has rightfully done, go to your medical professional. Let them tell you if you're ready. Let them tell you if you should wait. Let them tell you if this is the best thing for you. Don't listen to all those pseudo doctors and pseudo virologists that we have in Grenada all of a sudden.
You can call them people pseudo.
Well, that's what they are.
You don't know where them people study. Sometimes some of them can produce their certificate.
That is what they are.
If you ask them to.
Pseudo.
Once you have a good phone and you could access Facebook and you could read it, you turn expert.
You turn expert. Facebook should be handing out certificates for the amount of people that are certified.
No, they're not certified. They have become doctors.
They have become Facebook certified.
Yeah, no, but Facebook don't certify them, so they're Facebook certified.
But that's the only certificate.
Facebook educated, not Facebook certified.
Facebook certified. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hi, caller. Good morning. Good
hearing
morning.
some background noise, but not the phone.
We're gonna try again. Yeah, Mr. Bola, Facebook certified. Because that's
But
the
what
only
is certification?
they have.
Certification is when you have received that document, isn't that so? That says
that you are certified to. Okay, fine.
Right, for such and
Good.
such.
So Facebook educated then.
Yep.
Pseudo doctors.
Bright doctors and
we have a
nutritionists
call coming in. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad.
All right.
I'm trying to get in contact with Mr. Bowler.
Yes, but you're live on Hard Talk.
Uh-huh.
You're live on the radio. How can we help?
I gave you a number the other day to call him. Did you tell him for me, please?
Tell me that again.
I gave you a number the last time.
In the studio?
I gave you a number to Gabriel so he could call me. He did not call me, so.
In the studio?
Maybe he had called the office, so let him just give us the number now again. We are live on radio at this moment. Maybe you had called the office. I don't remember
give
that.
Give us the number again.
Let me get a writing. I don't have a writing.
Hello?
Mr. Bowler?
Yes, just give the number again. I will call you after the program.
All right, then. 449.
Yes.
97.
9745. 9745. 449 9745.
Yeah.
Okay. So he'll call you after the program is done.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. All right. Yep. Guys, remember the number to call, and time does go so fast. Sometimes we don't even get to be where we want to be information-wise because the time does slip out from under us. There has been a call coming in on the overseas line for quite some time now. So the person who is listening and trying to call, you can keep trying. Keep trying. We'll take your call soon. He seems to always call whenever there's someone on the other line. Yeah. Guys, so the number to call is 440-7377 locally and 347-329-3101. If you are calling from the diaspora, you can send your messages on WhatsApp or on the live video stream if you want to contribute to the conversation. You know, Mr. Bola, I am optimistic of the fact. See, look. Time in. He's calling, and I'm going to definitely stop and take the call because I don't want him to say we're screening any calls. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning, caller. What's going on there? And I ain't even hearing him. I'm sure he's going to try again. I'm optimistic, Mr. Bola, of the fact that we gonna get there, you know. I would hope that we get there at a quicker rate in terms of vaccination, in terms of the amount of people that we need to vaccinate to get to herd immunity, but we're gonna get there. I believe that people are gonna come around slowly and surely, and as I was saying yesterday, I don't think it's a lack of information. I think what we need is more avenues for that information to get out. I think we need to have more collaboration with the Ministry of Health, you know, and with our local politicians to get the information out there. I do not think that there is a lack of information. I just think that we need to open more avenues. We have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Hi,
morning. Very well.
Yeah, I need... I don't know if this is a joke or not, but I need Ms. Duncan or Mr. Bola to explain something for me. It doesn't have to be a long explanation, right? But if somebody comes to your village or your constituency rather, and they say that they might be the next person to run for elections, well, if they win, they represent, right? And you ask them, well, what happened to the next caretaker? Is the next caretaker running? And they will answer you, well, I don't know about that. Hopefully they will pick me. But come on, don't you think that's discord and disunity that you have one person going around and then you have another person from the same party who didn't tend his resignation, and then you have somebody else just ups and just for the same party, So how can have two caretakers for the same party going around? I want that certain party to answer me that question if they want people to vote for them.
Well, I don't know which certain party you're talking about, but what I would say, it's rather strange and unheard of to have two caretakers. Now, what you can have, because it's a process, you can have several people vying to become first and foremost a caretaker, because the caretaker is just the first stage in becoming a candidate, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, because for a lot of people, they think you just get up and you become a candidate.
But then, Mr. Bola, you're running. You're passing around, and then you're still saying you hope they choose you in the next meeting. You hope they choose you. Well, they're supposed to choose you before you start to come around.
Yeah, well, no, I was just explaining that even before a choice is being made, several people can express their interest. You know, so okay. Yes. Now listen. Let me just explain that to you. Yes. So let's use the tongue of St. George. We're in St. George. Yes. So let's say the tongue of St. George needs a candidate to fill in the position for the next election for the new national party, because the present holder, the Honorable Peter David, he's still there, but he may indicate, look, come election, I don't see myself going back. So the party is starting to put things in place. Now, you can say, boy, I feel I want to run for that seat. I can say that. Miss Duncan can say that. Several of us, you know. So all of us can express interest. We can write to the party, or we can start telling friends, boy, I have an interest. But there will come a time when the party will first, based on the number of people that are expressing interest, will do what they call a selection for a caretaker. So,
Mr. Bola, you know what you say? He might not, but what if the candidate that running saying he don't know what's going on, and the next man hasn't indicated that he would not run?
Yeah, well, I'm coming to that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So, with all of those people expressing interest, that is before a caretaker is being selected. Yes. So, several people on the ground telling people, boy, I wish, I hope, I want them to select me. Now, when you get to that stage where the party uses its mechanism, brings in its people, its registered members, and you say, look, we have 7 people, we have 4, we have 3, whatever. We want you now to make a choice based on their expression of interest, who you would like to see go forward. They do that most times through a vote. Now, when they select someone, they say this person now has been selected by you to be the caretaker. And caretaker means you go out there on behalf of the party expressing yourself. Nobody else can go and say, well, me is the second caretaker or the third caretaker. You could only have one caretaker.
But that was saying, and let me tell you before I go, one thing, I can tell you that good source, don't quote me, but don't quote me. The men started by Hollywood, it's already.
That's joking.
They don't know the people. They even gone, they buying drinks for what else call him, the PD coordinator and all. And I know he don't change him from NNP for nothing.
Anyway, some people does get these things mixed up, and they have to understand how the process goes. But thank you for raising your concern anyway.
Later.
All right, good.
We have another caller on the line right away. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sister Duncan. Good morning, Brother Bola. I've been calling you for 10 minutes.
Yes.
I could hear you talking, and the guy about this caller coming in, and this call you could never get.
Yeah. Every time we try, we miss it just by a second or two.
Yeah. I know you have a button there, boy. I say they're not touching that button at all.
No, but you see what has been happening, most times we come in just when we take our local calls, so we can't take the two at the same time.
Okay. What I call about to talk about this morning is about leadership.
Yes.
Mr. Bola.
Yes, sir.
He's a guy I was backing for years.
I know, you told me.
To be the leader of the country when Dr. Mitchell, he was one of my horses.
Yes.
I didn't have much horses, because leadership is something you have to bond with. It's not something you just do from being a leader. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, but being a leader. Because something I noticed in the world, especially in the Caribbean, any leader that stand up firm, he became a dictator, they say.
Yes.
But if you in England, Canada, or America, elsewhere, or you Maggie Thatcher was the Iron Lady.
Yes.
They had a name for Reagan. They have a name for Trump, but none of them is not no dictator. But if you stand firm in the Caribbean,
you become a dictator.
you become a dictator. I don't know if people really learn about these things. These people could stand firm for what they believe in and stand for the country. They are not dictators. But if you do it in the islands, you're a dictator. You know it happened with Gary.
Yeah, you're correct about that.
You know it happened with Gary. Right? You know it happened to a lesser extent with Code and Bishop.
Yes.
You understand? And every time we talk about that, we go down the wrong road. And we reach to the same thing again. Instead of we try to educate someone, we could see something in them that they could be a leader in the future. We don't doing that. But when one grows up to be a leader, we start criticizing that person. You understand?
Yeah.
Nazim Buck, we wanted him to be a leader. You know what I mean? But he didn't give that to us.
Right.
When we go into school, we all pushing Nazim to be a leader because we thought he would have been a great leader. But he ended up being a great hater.
Yep, a little too selfish.
Because a leader have to listen to himself. When he lay down in the night, he sit down, he look at things differently than the surrounding. Because that's what leadership is about.
Yes.
Mr. Bola, you might go, you like your plantation, you plant something because you say in 5 years' time, they will be they're going to need sauce up in the States, or they're going to need sauce up in Canada. And everybody, Mr. Bola is a madman. Why you planting sauce up, bro? It's no different from a man going to buy a piece of land somewhere, and they say it's forest over there, and he put on his land there, and he say in 10 years' time, I believe here going to be so crowded.
Yes.
I will have enough land to sell.
Right.
And that is the key in life.
They call that vision. You have vision.
Yes, a leader has to have a vision.
And your leaders must have vision.
That is what a leader is about. Look at the state of Grenada today, Mr. Bola.
Yes.
And we're not talking about leadership. We're talking about power. Who will come in power and power and power. You understand what I mean? We're not talking about leadership. Dr. Mitchell wanted to go 7 or 8 years. No. I could tell you.
Yeah, but our party is talking leadership here because we just had a retreat last Saturday. Was it? Yes,
I know that. I was informed about that.
And that's a constant topic that we discuss.
And I'm still mad, Mr. Bola.
Yes.
You know what I'm mad? Because I was talking with Shell and Ian in them early days.
Yes.
I said we must talk about leadership.
Yes.
I said who's going to run the party? After Shalom said, we have a lot of people, man. No, not so.
We have to identify.
No, Dr. Mitchell Dr. Mitchell want to move on. We as NNP putting too much pressure on this man. This man want to go on and say, where you going? You have to stay there, You have to stay there. You understand?
Yes.
We driving him to the ground.
Yes.
We do it. And now. Look at the age of this man. This man should be an advisor to the party because he needs time to rest. He said he wants to go back and teach, as he said to me, for 3 or 4 years. You understand what I mean? And we keep putting him in that spot. You understand? And I still blame him between me and you. Although I support the party. When you is a leader, Mr. Bola, you have to find the person right below your arm, the person who you know going to take over. You can't say I'm leaving it to the party, and Dr. Mitchell made a statement many times. He's leaving it to members of the party to make that decision. No, Doc, the public must see that next person in step. That next person who's going to be there. And we cannot say, well, he's going to be Mr. Boyne, because Mr. Boyne is just at the same age, almost the same age like you. Right? So when you go, Mr. Boyne going to go too. Because we just hanging in by the thread. That's why I was mad when you left. When you stepped down, because I said, Mr. Bola don't even know his achievement. He don't know his talent. But, I can see your face, I can see your mind.
That's true. That's true.
Because I was keep saying, you is the man who the other party, everybody look at you as a diplomat. I said, that's the next leader.
Yeah.
He know how to calm things. He know how to do this. Right? I don't want to hear a man say, well, I'm disappointed in that man, I'm disappointed in this man. The same thing I say about Tobias. If Tobias wanted to be a leader, either work with the party to show the party in the future he will be the leader. But he didn't do that. You know?
Yeah.
Don't try to divide. The Prime Minister is going down. And he needs somebody to take over.
Yep.
And right now in the country, Grenada have no leader. Everybody is Dr. Mitchell, who hitting him, boxing him there, who boxing him so, who kicking him so, because he's the only leader we have.
Yep.
That's why he taking blows so.
You will soon stop take blows, man. Don't worry, soon.
but I mean, you have to move on.
Yes.
But we must find a leader, man.
We are working feverishly. We're doing all of we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's.
Yeah, we're 10 years behind.
Yes.
But we have to get something done because the country going to fall, Mr. Bola.
We don't want to allow that. We won't allow that. Better late than
That's what I'm telling you. Because you see what went on before revolution. You see what went on during revolution. You see how far we have to go back and dig again to come back up again.
Yep.
And right now we're heading down again because Dr. Mitchell wants to rest.
Yes.
And he's trying to stay because of the best interest of the country. And all what he getting is licks. It's time for you leave. Time for you leave.
And they have nothing better to replace with.
When the head gone, Mr. Bola, when you take up that head and we don't have another head to replace, we're in trouble.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Another head will come and we won't take out that one, you know. That one will just be resting on the side to give advice.
You, the man, I just follow the way you speak. I listen to you carefully.
Yes, man.
And try and learn. And I'm begging you, please, Mr. Bola, the party have to find a leader and the Grenadian people have to know who is coming there after Dr. Mitchell. Up to now, we keep them in a shadow so the country falling apart.
Yeah. We do it in due time.
You get a body and all you get an air and get put up with leadership.
Man, that is already in place. Work is ongoing.
All right then. Okay. But the Grenadian people have to know it.
We will as soon as it
don't jump. We're jumping from NDC to Mr. Antoine because he's only one. We just keep jumping.
No, man,
I don't want to happen.
NNP is not like cricket. We green, but we're not like cricket.
And don't play no hopscotch. Don't play no hopscotch, man.
No, we ain't playing that. We want a smooth transition. Yes, that's what we want. A smooth transition. Thank you for your topic and we wish you the best. Go good now. All right. Great.
You and Sister Duncan have a good one.
Thank you. Yes.
We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi,
morning.
On the program?
Yes, you are. You are live.
Oh, Mr. Bola.
Speaking.
No, I listened to the program. It's a very nice program. But I heard something from a couple about 2 months ago from one of them scientists, one of them doctors.
Yes.
Which I just said, a lady said that she doctor told her to look what she have like a kidney problem, she had like a heart problem, and she put swelling and this and that. But I thought I heard the doctor say when you have the underlying condition, that's the best time to take the injection.
Well, no. That's not what they said. They said no. That's not what they said. Not in that way.
Okay.
They said that if you have underlying conditions, that you are more susceptible to dying or becoming severely ill from COVID-19. So you should be at the front of the line to get vaccinated so that if you do contract COVID-19 or when you contract COVID-19 that you don't die. However...
I need to break up.
You hearing me now?
Hold on. Let me get good. Yeah, go on, let me know.
Right. If you have underlying conditions and you contract COVID-19, the chances of you becoming severely ill or dying is greater, right?
Yes.
Now, these people with underlying conditions, should get vaccinated if you are in a position. Now, you may have an underlying condition. Let's say you have kidney disease or so on, and you are currently at a stage where your body is already compromised, meaning that your kidney disease, you're in a place where you're really sick. You're not going to go and get vaccinated while you're really sick. You would wait until your immune system can handle it. And that's basically what her doctor said to her. Wait until you are at a position, or your body is at a position where you can handle the vaccine, and then go get vaccinated. Because then you don't want to catch COVID-19 and add to your already bad situation, right?
Oh.
So that's what they mean. They don't mean, the doctor didn't tell her, don't take it at all. He's saying to her...
I didn't talk about she doctor, you know.
No, but any doctor, they wouldn't send you and take the vaccine when you are in a sick stage. You have to be better first. So if you have diabetes and your diabetes is managed and controlled, then you go and get the vaccine. But if you're diabetic and your sugar is 4 and 5 and 600 and you're feeling weak and dizzy, you ain't gonna go and get vaccinated. You'd wait until you feel better first.
So what do you say? Like when you have underlying condition,
check a doctor. Check with your doctor
first, and let your doctor give you the green light.
Okay. Then.
Yeah. Once he says it's okay for you to go now, then you go. You don't just, if you know you have underlying condition, don't just go and take it. But check with your doctor, get advice from them, because as Ms. Duncan explained, it depends on what stage you are at, how weak or how sick you are at a particular time.
Yeah.
Then the doctor will advise you, or probably give you some medication, build up your system, and then tell you you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I say, I have the little sugar and little pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
And my sugar will be some them 150.
150, a little high and thing.
A little high and thing, but all right, I'm all right.
Yeah, well, just check with the doctor, you know, go by the health center, and they will advise you.
Okay, then.
Don't take advice from bush doctor like me. Go to them good doctor. All right. Yes, well, I know who know.
Right, okay.
All right, good man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, so I think there is just a little misunderstanding, I guess, from people who want to take the vaccine and have heard, others saying, well, my doctor told me don't take it, because I have sugar and pressure. I think it's more of a situation that they're advising, you don't take it yet. You wait until you are at a stage. Like, for example, I know some people who are immunocompromised. Some people have autoimmune diseases and are on immunosuppressants. And for them to be vaccinated, they would first need to come off the immunosuppressant, allow their immune system to kick in, and then they're at a place where they can be vaccinated before they could even go back on their immunosuppressants. So it's situations like that. You kind of had to really speak to your doctor.
Well, you have to, not kind of, because you see, these are medical issues that the ordinary mind cannot just unfold just like that. Don't have the, the ability to understand the difference between why can I not take it this week as opposed to 2 weeks from now and so the doctors, the medical professionals are in the best place to explain.
And to put it an easy way to understand as well, if you have, and that's why we're saying that people that have that are immunocompromised, that have comorbidities, should go and get vaccinated, because you're talking about a body or a system that is already damaged. Now you're adding something to that system that can even further damage it. Obviously, you don't want to do that. It's like people who have cancers and so on. They have to stay away from infection, and they have to stay away from colds and these kind of things, because chemotherapy generally weakens the immune system. So you really don't have a fighting chance, if you want to put it that way. So you kind of want to ensure that you speak to your doctor. Let your doctor tell you, do whatever necessary tests as possible, and then tell you, yes, you know what, you have the green light. Go ahead and get vaccinated, because you don't want to add anything to already damaged body, So please, for those of you out there who are wondering, me, I have diabetes, I have the sugar or the pressure or the whatever it is, the kidney disease or whatever it is you may have, and you're wondering, I wonder if I should go and take the vaccine. Don't wonder. Speak to your doctor. Let the doctor tell you what is best for you, because when you trust that doctor with whatever comorbidity you have, you go to the doctor and you trust their advice when they tell you to take prednisone or whatever they tell you to take for whatever disease or whatever you have. You trust that, and you take it without question. So you need to trust them as well when it comes to their advice on vaccination.
Well, couldn't have been better said.
Time is running out, Mr. Bola, but I think we can maybe take 2 more calls if there are people out there. There is a comment on the live video, and it reads, the current caller is talking the truth. The caller says, anytime a man in the Caribbean speaks up, he's a dictator. But I'm saying anytime a black man speaks up, he's called a dictator. Check history. All right? Someone else is saying dictator to those who don't know the meaning of the word. Quite agree with the caller. Yep. And that's true. People really don't understand the meaning of dictator. They don't understand what it is to be. And I feel like people who don't and have never been exposed to a dictatorship, don't know the characteristics of a dictatorship, should really stop abusing the word dictatorship. Honestly. We just put it out there because we know the word is dictator and we know that we feel. So then that means that as children, we feel we parents is dictators too because they're telling us what is best for us or what we should do at any given time.
We'd have to hear the children say that. I don't want to put words in the children's mouth.
But I mean, this is the character. This is the characteristic under which they are basing dictatorship.
You're sure?
In Grenadian context, yes.
Okay.
Because our government tells them, well, this is the best thing for you, or this is the best way to go, or we should do this, or we have to do that, or we have to do the other, because, they're giving you a reason why. Not because I say so, or not because me as Prime Minister, so I tell you to do that. But because there is a reason why we should do it. Valid reason at that, We feel the man is a dictator. We just using words loosely in this place.
Well, let's wait.
Every time we learn a new word, we just lose.
Well, of course, when you have your new shoes, you want to wait regular. So
oh, God, don't say it so.
Nothing, those of us who know best, or know better, sorry, not just best, but know better, need to constantly speak about the positives that we know.
Absolutely.
A lot of times we refrain from talking about the positives. So the negative connotations always become louder. They get airplay, they get listened to because there's not an alternative. And we can help not by getting into a quarrel, not by getting into a confrontation, but by just speaking out the truth as we know it to be.
Know it, yeah.
Give the facts as we understand it to be. We don't have to be fancy. We don't have to get into, like I say, arguments and so, but we can speak what is factual and what is true.
We have a call coming on the WhatsApp. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
And also to Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing today?
Yeah, how do you do?
Very well.
Yeah. I heard a caller called previously and was speaking about 2 caretakers in the constituency. I'm not sure which constituency he was referring to.
Neither which party, because he did not identify which party.
Hello?
Yeah, I said neither did he say which party. He didn't identify which party.
But I'm just saying that this ought not to be. We don't want this kind of confusion within the constituency, within the party. The party is not known for having this kind of rivalry. After a process would have been gone through, after it have gone through a particular process, right? Yeah. On another note, so I don't want to say much on this one. On another note, in terms of the vaccines, because I've heard people saying all the time that the government should make available all the vaccines that are wrong and have people making the choice. People will choose which one they want and so on. And sometimes I question how practical and how real we are, I question how practical and how real are we, What as the doctors would say, and I agree, that the best vaccine is the one that is available to us now.
Yes.
And we should make and take advantage of what is available to us now. I leave that one there as well. Yesterday, I heard, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, I heard the conversation on pretty elasticity. And I just want to say, this, as Mr. Bola was saying, this is an age-long problem. This is not now. I recall during the revolutionary period, there were many consultations, right, on the issue of pretty elasticity and the proposed measures and what should have, what people think should be done about it and so on. And I remember that process at one time was was guided by the then advisor to the PRG at the time, Mr. Richard Hart, right? Who was a legal luminary, right? So he was advisor, and I remember there were many discussions, many consultations in respect to that. I think there is a small booklet I supposed to have in my possession somewhere. It is called the Grenada Revolution, Setting the Record Straight. And and if I go back to this little booklet, I could even look at the specifics that were discussed in respect to what can be done, right, to curb this whole issue of pre-deal larceny. Right? So it's not a new thing, but at the same time, I still think a lot more could be done in terms of the assistance rendered by the Ministry, right, of Agriculture. But also, I think farmers have great responsibility, right, in that regard. Because I always believe issues concerning whichever organization, whichever group, in whichever profession, the people in that profession should be the best people to lead the charge, to spearhead the discussion, the consultation in respect to those things, in terms of making recommendations and all of that. I'm not saying that that other people will not have contribution to make, right? For example, in terms of drafting laws, so you need the legal minds and all of that. But I believe the people who are involved, who are directly affected, should be the persons to make the recommendations, or leading the charge in making the recommendations, right? So again, I believe that a lot more could be done. But it's unfortunate when I heard that a lot of farmers themselves steal from other farmers.
Of course.
So so we have a real problem on our
Double
hands.
jeopardy, man. Double jeopardy.
Hello?
I said double jeopardy. We're stealing from each other.
Yeah, double jeopardy. Yeah, where you have, can you imagine? Farmers stealing from other farmers and so on. But it's unfortunate that, as Ms. Duncan was making the point, I think yesterday, I mean, just think about a farmer farming his farm, right? You have to do your preparation, you prepare your plant, you have to weed, you have to nurture, you have to do the necessary. And then when your crops start producing, right? When it's time now, it's close to harvest time, or it's harvest time, and somebody start the reaping before you. I mean, I cannot find words to describe that kind of behavior, that kind of attitude. And in terms of how such a person should be treated, again, but within the confines of the law. But, so all of these things, and sometimes we call on the government, and yes, as I say, the government has a role, and we call on politicians, and we call on other people, and we blame. The blame game would continue. But what I would like to see happening is that, so that our people in general will make a general appeal to our people and ask them, how could you have such a mindset? How could you be harboring such a mentality, such a mindset, so as to be preparing your day on the periphery or wherever you might be, and as soon as somebody crop is ready, you start harvesting it before them? Come on. So it's a lot of things that we have to look at, Mr. Bola. I say for us to see a difference in Grenada, we have to have a change of mindset, and we have to live and be the change that we want to see. My little granny is crying in the background.
I agree with you.
Sorry about that.
And we're running out of time too, but your contribution is always welcome. We will do our best, and we will bring that topic back again. In fact, next Wednesday, the Senate should be sitting. Most likely, it may be 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, based on the number of issues on the other paper. And I know that is one of the issues the Senator for Fisheries and Agriculture, yes, he has a question asking about some issues about pre-deal larceny. So, I mean, the matter is not a dead one. We did agree from what we discussed on the program that while some initiatives have been taken, more needs to be, and there need to be more consistency, and we need to aim to achieve much more. But I believe it is something that will continue to be on the burner, whether it is the front one, the second one, but I hope it would not be on the back burner though, but be on a burner where it can get good heat and constant attention. So to all of the farmers out there, I really do hope that with the kind of changing weather, we've seen a little rain and what have you, that you are deep into land preparation, or in some instances planting, because there are those of us who have irrigation system. For those who haven't started yet, well, there is no time and as good as the present. So go right ahead, get right into it. And even if it's just a little backyard thing you want to do, plant 2 tomato, 3, 6 cabbage, and probably a couple of seasoning peppers. Do that. Get your hand dirty into the soil. Let your children get to understand what it is like to prepare to plant and then to see grow, nurture, and you can harvest. It would be something of a good learning experience for them. Hey, DC. DC ranks, my boy. I just want to hear you out, We know that you're always live, you always tune in, Why did this on agriculture? That's one of your calypso, boy. But, it has been a very fruitful program today. We do want to thank all people who participated, even though you just listened or you just called to share an experience that you have had, whether you were on target with what we were dealing with or something else. We appreciate every call we get, even if it is not a call, even if it is a call that doesn't agree with some of the things that we are exposing here on the program. But be that as it may, today is Thursday. It's a time for a little nostalgia and what have you, do what you gotta do. But just stay alive, stay protected, stay safe, and as Ms. Duncan would add, be responsible with whatever you do and whatever you say, wherever you go. Let's remember that COVID is not very far away, so we need to stay protected. Get vaccinated. It's our best shot.
All right. And with that, we come to the end of our program for today, guys. In whatever you do and whatever you say, be safe, be secure, be responsible. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned for the National Report and have a wonderful day, guys.
Grenada received over 21,000 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine through the COVAX facility. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, May 26, 2021, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Grenada on Wednesday received 21,600 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine through the COVAX facility. This is the second batch to be delivered through the facility, taking the number of the specified amount by COVAX for Grenada to 45,600 doses. The first batch of 24,000 was received on April 9th. The objective of COVAX is to provide vaccines for at least 20% of the population for each participating country in 2021. Minister for Health and Social Security Honorable Nicholas Steele and Fiona Anthony, PAHO and WHO country program specialists, were among officials at the MBIA to accept the vaccines. Honorable Steele says the additional doses mean keeping the vaccination campaign momentum going. It also means government is honoring its commitment to the population to ensure that vaccines are available and accessible.
We are one of few countries. Not every country has access to vaccines as yet. Grenada has been fortunate through the cooperation and assistance of Pan American Health Organization, WHO, and COVAX to have access to vaccines. While it is limited amounts and it is limited variety, it is still the right vaccine that can protect us. So we are glad to have received this additional shipment and look forward to individuals continuing to come forward to receive their vaccination.
Because we have been seeing a change in mindset of Grenadians now towards the vaccines. Within the last couple of weeks, we have those who came forward. Initially, WHO said between 4 to 12 weeks. Now that we've gotten a new shipment, if persons who were supposed to get the second dose within the last grouping wishes to wait for the 12 weeks, will that be allowed, or they will have to come back on the date that was given?
Well, most definitely it gives people flexibility. I don't suggest people wait until the 12th week, but I think persons should look to take the vaccine anywhere from 6 to 8 or 10 weeks maximum. So having this additional shipment allows individuals to have that choice and flexibility in taking their second dose.
After witnessing the arrival of the second quota of vaccines for Grenada, Fiona Anthony says it gives a reassurance that more people will be protected from the COVID-19 virus.
We're very excited to be in this position today when working through the COVAX facility, we've been able to provide the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccines for Grenada, with the aim that would reach 20% of the vulnerable population, including healthcare workers. So it's a very exciting feeling. It's with a lot of work that's been gone on to organize everything to get to this point. So I think it's a big achievement, and also what it does is basically makes more vaccines available to persons in Grenada to access and utilize. And as we're all aware, once more persons are vaccinated, then the transition to a more normal life can happen more quickly.
She says, however, there is still a need to follow public health measures if Grenada is to continue on the right trajectory.
At this point, this is the original allocation. I can't say at this point, what would be the next steps with respect to any further allocations, but I know that there's always avenues in place to look into exploring how further vaccines can be afforded to countries. But at this point, I can't say at this point if there's any further batches.
With the expiry date for the current vaccination stock approaching, the Ministry of Health is closely examining the number of vaccinations that can be administered to the population before June 27th. Acting Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Sean Charles, on Wednesday, said the ministry is considering sending the excess doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca to other countries whose immunization numbers are higher.
We are seriously looking at our present uptake to determine the number of doses that we will administer by that expiry date. The excess that we are not able to administer, all right, we have considered, yes, sending it to countries who have a better uptake and who can use them, and we will do that at least with time enough for them to be able to administer those vaccines.
Health Minister Honorable Nicholas Steele said while the option would be to seek the interest of our OECS neighbors who would utilize the vaccine before it expires, they are still hopeful that more people would come forward to be vaccinated.
While we do hope, and it is possible that we can use all of those vaccines between now and the expiration date of the end of June, it really would be regrettable, and it is not our intention to have them go to waste. So, yes, we have been approached by other countries to ask, and we also need to remember that our first delivery of vaccines came from a shared agreement with our OECS countries. And therefore, the principle of sharing has existed from day one with our OECS and CARICOM brothers and sisters. And I see no reason why that principle, although regrettably if we would have vaccines that we wouldn't be able to use in time, why that principle wouldn't follow.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy.
To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal.
When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
Grenada will host 5 T20 matches from June 26th as part of the South African tour to the Caribbean. The announcement was made on Wednesday by Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Troy Garvey, during the government's weekly post-cabinet press briefing. The matches, which were originally scheduled to be played in Trinidad and Tobago, were brought to Grenada due to the current state of emergency and increase in COVID-19 cases there. The series of matches between the West Indies and South Africa will be played on June 26th, 27th, 29th, and July 1st and 3rd at the National Cricket Stadium.
Cricket has played a very important part, not only in Grenada, but in Caribbean culture. And I think persons having such a tour at this point in time, it's so important as we try to remove the burdens of COVID-19. As I said, it's 5 T20 games. The games will be played on the 26th, the 27th, the 29th of June, and also the 1st and 3rd of July at the National Stadium.
He said through approval of Cricket West Indies and the Ministry of Health, only fully vaccinated persons will be allowed to attend the games at the stadium. COVID-19 protocols will also be observed.
I'm pleased to announce here this morning that serious consideration is given and will be given, and protocols are being planned to be established to accommodate persons that are fully vaccinated at the venue. It's quite crucial, and it's not by sheer coincidence, I'm sure, that we share the platform here this morning with health. One would like to establish the importance of the event, the importance of responding to the present situation nationally and globally, and we think using the wonderful, beautiful game of cricket can serve well for us here in Grenada.
President of the Grenada Cricket Association and Director of Cricket West Indies, Dwayne Gill, said the facility is ready for the games. He emphasized that Grenada's facility has in the past been home to many regional and international games. This series is no different.
We are accustomed hosting international cricket, so we saw it as an opportunity for Grenada, again, to really welcome back cricket into the Caribbean and into Grenada in particular. We believe the 5 matches will be run very well, and the message coming out now is that we will have spectators, and we're very happy that cricket is the one that will actually see us, get back to some semblance of normalcy. We believe, based on the matches we've played at a local level over the last couple of months, we believe the facility is ready and will be ready. The surface is pretty good. The net area is pretty good, based on what the ground staff they've been doing at the National Stadium. The other key area we had to look at was the players' pavilion and so on. Minor repairs to be done, but for a game of that nature, we expect to more or less go through the same systems we've been going through, but now with the additional responsibility of hosting these 2 teams in what we refer to as a biosecure environment. It is a new challenge, but we believe that we have the systems in place to really meet the challenge.
The matches will commence at 2 p.m. daily. The Ministry of Health has begun inspection of various quarantine sites across the island. All quarantine sites are required to have their staff fully vaccinated to continue operating as a quarantine facility. Health Minister Honorable Nicholas Steele says the ministry is working collaboratively with the Grenada Tourism Authority to ensure that these sites receive their seal of approval.
From today for the rest of this week, we will begin the inspection of quarantine sites to ensure that quarantine sites are fully vaccinated, i.e. all employees at any quarantine site, that is any hotel or establishment that has individuals staying there for purposes of quarantine, all employees need to be fully vaccinated, and that process of inspection has started, so most of the sites can expect within this week to be visited for verification. We've worked with Grenada Tourism Authority, and those sites that meet the qualification will be allowed to continue as quarantine sites, will receive a seal of approval or certification that they are fully vaccinated to continue.
That story just ended the national report for Wednesday, May 26th. Recapping the top story, Grenada received over 21,000 doses of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine through the COVAX facility. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.